I want to give you a message I received in prayer from Luke chapter 9, verse 62. It says that Jesus said to those who were following, "No man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God." While I was reading that, I was talking to the Lord, and I was like, what are you trying to say to me? Are you communicating with me about me, or is this something I should share to those who are going to be listening today? And it was both, because there was a wise woman, a wise saying. I don't know if a woman said it or a man, but what it said was, what you learn, teach. Even Jesus said to Peter, when you're converted, strengthen your brothers. When it has become real to you, talk to somebody else about it. Well, it didn't take long for this statement to become real to me, because I have recently made a decision to walk out on the water, so to speak, and to trust God with everything. I was away, and he told me, he said, Larnice, when you walk in faith, there's no plan B. There's only plan G, which means plan God. So many times we step out and we have our plans, our fallback plans. Well, if this falls through, I have this to fall back on. And God is like, the only thing I want you to fall back on is me. So, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of heaven. I said, Lord, am I looking back? Is there something that I'm doing that is not pleasing you? Because the Bible says without faith it's impossible to please him. So am I doing something that's not pleasing you? Sometimes I'm concerned about how I'm going to pay this, or how I'm going to do this, or how this is going to manifest itself, how this is going to happen. But then I have to remember that I'm with the creator of the universe, that there is nothing impossible with him, that my faith and my trust is in him for everything that I need. Some of you may not even be stepping out as it relates to ministry, as it relates to doing something as it relates to the gospel. You might be stepping out, putting your hand to the plow of business, being an entrepreneur. You never thought that you would be able to do it, but you finally said, you know what, I'm tired of working for somebody else, so I'm going to step out and I'm going to start this business. And you started it. But it gets hard sometimes when you don't see the checks coming in consistently, when you don't see the money growing in the bank account, where it seems like you're having setback after setback. Regardless of the setback, regardless of what you don't see, don't look back. Because when you look back, you can return back. When you look back, you can go back. God is saying, don't go back. Keep pressing forward. Keep focusing on your goal. Keep pushing. Some of you might even start to return back to school after so long. I'm going to go back and get my degree. I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go get my degree. I'm going to put my hand to the plow of education. Sometimes it's hard when you haven't been to school in a long time. You're trying to learn these principles. You're trying to learn math. You're trying to learn how to write. Your skills are not up to par. And you get discouraged. And internally, you want to go back. I'm just going to work this job. I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going to believe for anything better. I'm not going to do the work it takes to come up in my career, to come up financially. It's hard. Don't look back. You can't put your hand to the plow and look back at the same time. Anybody knows that when you're driving a car and you just take your eyes off the road for 1 minute. Sometimes my mother used to turn around. We be acting up in that back seat. And she turned her body around and try to hit us. Ooh, she is trying to get us. And that car is swerving. She trying to hit us, but she put our lives in danger at the same time. No, 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 no. When you put your hand to something, you're preparing the way for those who are behind you. You don't realize it though, but you're preparing the way for those who are coming behind you. You're marking out a path. What Jesus was in essence saying, don't quit on the legacy you're trying to leave for your children and your children's children. Don't quit on the ministry you're trying to leave for the next generation. Don't quit on business. Don't quit on education. Don't quit on the dream. Had not some people went before us, we wouldn't be free to this day. Except somebody else had stood up and put their hand to the plow. Some of you guys and ladies, you have so many dreams. You have so many things you want to do with your life. But you put your hand to the plow and it didn't work out. It didn't work out. It fell through. Get back up. Try it again. Put your hand to the plow. Some of us are trying to get physically fit. We're trying to get physically fit, so we're working out. We put our hand to the plow, working out, exercise every day. Got to get up every morning, do what we got to do, eat right, get to the gym, do our calisthenics, do our exercises. But you get tempted all day with the office food and the family, who's not on the diet with you. They're eating what they want to eat. You trying to eat this, they're eating that, and you smelling the food. But you're determined. Don't look back. Keep pressing forward. It'll pay off in the long run. There were some people in the Bible who had put their hands to the plow and looked back. For some, it's very detrimental for their lives. The children of Israel were going through the wilderness. They had been freed from Pharaoh. They were in hell. Building, working under extreme pressure and oppression from Pharaoh. But God raised up Moses to go and be a deliverer for them. And he brought them out. That's what Exodus means. Out, come out, called out. He brought them out. In the whole book of Exodus, then through Leviticus to Deuteronomy, they were constantly complaining about where they had come from. Oh, we wish we were back in Egypt, where this was here, and we weren't eating this kind of food, when we weren't feeling this, whatever it was. They were constantly complaining. And then you read in the book of Joshua, it says that those who had come out with Moses, a certain generation, the complaining generation, they died. They had put their hand to the plow, but they were looking back so much so that they had multiple setbacks. They went back in their spirit while trying to hold on to their future. Why let go of your past to still hold it in your heart? Are you willing to sacrifice what you came from, or even where you are right now, for the future that you see? Don't put your hand to this plow and look back, because the line won't be straight. It'll be wobbly. It'll be off. And for some, the line cuts off here. It's sad when you see a road unfinished, you see a project unfinished, because the money wasn't there, because the people just gave up on it. You don't want to be unfruitful. I believe the Lord is saying to some of you, Lot's wife, when they were being delivered from Sodom and Gomorrah, it says she looked back and she became a pillar of salt. looking back can cause you to become bitter. Become bitter where you are because you're still looking back to where you came from. Some of you guys, some of us think that it was better where we came from. We say it in the church all the time. The people in the world treated me better than the people in the church. You signed up for this. When you live for the Lord, you're going to suffer persecution. So why complain? One person tells me, either complain and stay or complain and be on your way. Make a decision. Jesus had an opportunity when he had put his hand to the plow. In the book of Luke, in chapter 22, he said, Father, if it be thy will, let this cup, this plow I got my hand to, let this pass. This cross is going to be unbearable for me physically. So if it's your will, let it pass. He was looking for a way out. He was hoping for a way out. But there was a resolve in him that after 3 times of praying to his Father, he set his face toward the goal. Not just toward his death, but towards his resurrection. Because he had us in mind. Who do you have in mind when you're etching out your goal, when you're pressing forward, when you're getting your education, when you're starting the business, where you're ministering? Who do you have in mind when you put your hand on the plow? Sometimes it's other people. But guess what? There comes a time where it's just for you. It's just for you. Sometimes it comes time where you say, you know what? I've been giving, I've been serving, I've been spending my whole life sacrifice for everybody else, leaving my dreams and my desires undone. It's time for you now. Put your hand to the plow. Yeah, you're going to leave a legacy. You're going to leave a mark. You're going to leave something behind you. But go forward so that whoever needs to believe that they can do it at a time where it seems like they can't, they can look to you. Oh, my sister did it. My sister went back to school. My mother went back. My father started a business. My aunt bought a house. My brother did this. My father did this. Oh, this one started the ministry from nothing. I promise you, 2 years ago, I started off on a wonderful path for my life. Not just the ministry, because I'm called to that, and I am doing that. But there were many times I ran from it, back and forth, back and forth. But there was another thing I wanted to do, and I had invested my time, I invested my money, I invested all that I had into this business. And I got into it and I got started. My hand was to the plow. I was excited. But I had this one pair of pants. And I'm going to be vulnerable right now because I don't know who's watching this. But you know what? It's going to help somebody. I had this one pair of pants and multiple shirts, and it was cold at the time, so I was able to wear these pants every day, wear this, while I went out and did what I had to do. But when it started getting warmer, I started feeling stressed out because I didn't have the look, I didn't have the clothes for this business, for this venture I had stepped out to do. And I didn't start making the money yet. So when I was going with these pants every day, I started thinking, what are they going to think about you? You wearing the same thing every day. How you going to go see and talk to people with the same old pair of pants on? And it wasn't even this great pair of pants. They got a little spot down here, probably from some bleach that had fell on them. It wasn't very visible, but it was noticeable enough. I knew it was there. And I would go to these business meetings and I would go out to meet people and I would go see these houses. But every day it was a strain. It was stressful because these pants, until one day, I said, I'm not going back there no more. Yeah, it was some other things going on in my life. It was people. My son was going through some issues. It was some things going on. But this was the main thing. A pair of pants. My hand was to the plow. But this pair of pants kept saying, you should just go back and get a regular job. You should just go back. Come up out of here. You can't do this. Everybody gonna be laughing at you. So I left. Oh yeah, I used the God excuse, because sometimes we do. I use my son as an excuse. What excuse have you used for not continuing on the path that you were called to? It's hard? Yeah, it's hard. Nobody's ever done it before? Maybe. Nobody ever died on a cross either. For you, for me. Nobody that deserved it. I mean, nobody that didn't deserve it. Everybody who died in those days, they had some kind of crime behind them. Jesus didn't have a crime. He took on our stuff. And he had never did it before.